Hello, and welcome to another edition of Conversations with Dr. April. I am here today with Lynn, relationship guru, and we're going to talk about collective trauma and anxiety in the climate of what's happening today and offer some tips and some help that we can give to everyone who may be experiencing a little anxiety. Lynn, thank you for being here.
Sure.
So, first, what's your take as being an African American man with everything that we're seeing on the news and, just the last few weeks?
It has been traumatic for me. I'm an empath, first and foremost. So I,
Yeah.
I I'm having to turn away the news because I don't want to absorb that much energy. But the
Hmm.
little bit of news that I have seen, it is disheartening because back to back shootings is tremendous, and it's like it just keeps on increasing. And I'm getting ready to put an article on Medium that says that the police departments do not scan for narcissism.
Hmm.
And if I were to go through and assess all of the metropolitan police departments in the country, I'll bet you 50% of the males would come up narcissistic. I mean, full blown, like all of nine characteristics that it takes to make narcissism, they would qualify with five. Five makes you clinically a narcissist. And
Okay.
narcissists ascribe to positions of power: teachers, preachers, military,
Yeah.
judges, therapists. Yeah, so these are kinds of positions that narcissists ascribe to because they want power, and they
Yeah.
want to be able to administer that power behind the guise of some title or some role.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess that's an important factor to deal with. Well, to realize, that hey, it's an ego thing. Narcissism is more or less, for people who really don't understand what it is, it's a ego. You're in your ego. So
Yeah.
it's
So in order for that cop to shoot that man in the back multiple times, he had to disconnect his humanity from his soul and then turn that person into an object.
yeah,
And so once I disconnect from you, then it's easy to get. And how many black men have been shot in the back multiple times? The guy in
yeah,
South Carolina shot the black man in the back. This guy couldn't even run 2 miles an hour. He shot him in the back like 4 or 5 times. When he was on the
yeah.
ground, he handcuffed his dead body. That is a total
It's sad.
disconnect from my anything that is humane in me. That is the disconnect. And so in order to have that kind of disconnect, you have to have training for it. The training for it is narcissism. Narcissism goes all the way back to childhood and the trauma that you suffer, that most of them suffer, and they just got hardwired with it. And so it's
Yeah.
it's it's really hard because we're you know what was the general population of men? Narcissism runs 7%. In women, I think it's like 5. So, but they go for positions of power. So when you look at the pool of applicants in police department, it's got a really high percentage.
Yeah.
And narcissists are great at interviews. They're great at impressing people with a whole lot of flamboyant stuff. They say all the right things, they do all the right things. And then once they get the position, then the real agenda starts to come out. So,
So how do we deal with that, I guess, as, Black Americans, as individuals? Like, what are some things that we really need to do to heal from this? Because it's collective trauma that we're experiencing. And collective trauma is when everybody is hurt and sad and angry kind of about all the same things at one time. And so, you may have those people that are just upset, can't function. You have the anxiety that's kicking in, which is fear. So all of that in one, it's like is what the climate is right now, is what we're dealing with. So what are some things that you think, as a black man, that we can start to do to
In order,
heal?
well,
Yeah.
there's the spiritual route, there's the religious route, and then being around family, I think is really important, that you're around people who love you and
Yeah.
who continuously reinforce that love for you. Um, and it's reciprocal, but I think that, if you're single and you're by yourself and you don't interact with a whole bunch of people, then hopefully they can find family or friends that they can be around to just hear words of encouragement. If that's not available, then the ability to self-soothe is an acquired taste. I've pretty much mastered that ability because I'm by myself a lot of times.
Mhm.
So in order to self-soothe, I got the here's my sage stick right here.
Okay.
So I kind of engage in some really soft music. I like to listen to a lot of um, the Tibetan bowls where
Okay. Yeah, I like those too.
yeah, and I like that. I like the vibration. I got these really loud speakers, and I like the vibration because we operate. We're energy beings, and so
Mhm.
I turn to Tibetan music. Um, new. Sometimes I listen to new age. I'm focusing on stuff, or if I'm writing, I'll
Okay.
you know I may have a glass of wine, kind of chill out a little bit. I'm real heavy into herbs that do
Okay.
that. Relora, turmeric. Um, there is a number of St. John's wort will help calm your spirit. St. John wort's tea will help calm you down. Chamomile tea is another
Okay.
way to
Yeah.
look at things that are just calm down, and to sort of just quieten your spirit and not really engage too much in looking at all of that negative energy that's coming off of the TV screen, because I'm telling you that it's too much for me. And if
Yeah.
you're looking at this stuff like day in and day out, that's tricky, because you're taking on that. And then when you take on that negative energy, you have to be able to discharge that energy. One of the things I also like to do is to get out on the walking trail,
Mhm.
and I go down 2 miles, I come back 2 miles, and just kind of interact with nature, kind of grounding. I always like to keep my feet on the ground to get that grounding. Um, it kind of it does, so it's something with negative ions, and when your feet are actually
Yeah.
touching the ground, and
Mhm.
it also calms your spirit and your soul. So it's a number of things that you can do to kind of, you know, just to stay at an even keel, because you don't want to be too far left or
Yeah.
too far right with, all this negative stuff that's coming in right now. It's
And
tough.
that's good. And I'm an advocate for exercise. I think exercise is really good for your mental health. So
Mm.
even, incorporating at least 15 to 20 minutes of some type of cardio or walking or, treadmill running, those things help with your mental health as well. Something important that you said about watching these things on TV, really, it's a trigger. It triggers something inside of you. So if you're watching this every day and you're watching the CNNs and you're watching, the different news stations or whatever, and these things are happening, it triggers something innately inside of you that's either going to trigger sadness, it's going to trigger anger or anxiety.
Mm.
So I always tell people, when you see these triggers and you start to recognize what they are, it's important to eliminate. these triggers. So that means turning off the TV, like you said, because that's a trigger. So anything that's going to cause these feelings inside of me, I need to figure out a way to distance myself from it. So
Yes.
I think that's important.
And it's okay to ask. It's really hard for a lot of black men to open up. When a black man opens up to you and starts telling you stuff, he's giving you the greatest compliment ever, because it's hard. Most of us are surviving this
Hmm.
environment. It's survival. So it's like this hyper awareness, or it's just like you wait on the other shoe to drop. Especially when you go out in the street, it's like, you know, I don't. I'm an introvert as well, so staying in the house, I'm good. So, and most of my clients are online. I can meet them online, or I have a few clients. I'm not that paranoid about the COVID virus, because I know what to take should I start to feel that coming on. I have enlisted certain herbs that I will take if I start to feel malaise, or
Yeah.
lightheaded or sick, or several things. We can get into those herbs as well.
Yeah. I mean, the herbs are really good. I'm an advocate for those, but I want to the disclaimer is, if anybody's taking any prescription medications, always consult your doctor before taking any herbal supplements, or sometimes even the teas, because I know St. John's wort interacts with some medications. So that's not a one that, everybody can take if they're on some type of prescription medications. So but there are a lot of other ones. The magnesium is a vitamin, so magnesium is really good for
Yep.
calming, for
Yep.
the depression, the anxiety. Valerian
Yeah.
root is another one that's really
Yes.
good. So all these things are really good, alternatives to prescription medications that you can take. Did you know that rhodiola tea, and even rhodiola, is really good for anxiety? It's um like a substitute for what it is, the one that they prescribe, the Xanax.
Xanax. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's usually it's not too many contraindications. Turmeric is the contraindication for turmeric is if you're on a blood thinner, if you're on an MAO inhibitor, if you're on an SSRI um,
Yeah.
type medication, turmeric is contraindicated, meaning that you can't take turmeric and something that is thinning your blood, because turmeric will make your blood thinner.
Yeah.
So if you're on something like that, the contraindications are for most. You can kind of Google contraindications for rhodiola, or yeah. Well, there I don't think can't be any contraindications for magnesium. Magnesium is
No.
involved in 300 chemical reactions of your body. So
Yeah. And we
you,
need magnesium. We don't get enough of it because you're just not eating the right amount of supplements. Well, food anyway to even get the magnesium intake that you need. But the magnesium, the vitamin D's, the zinc, all those things, vitamin C is very important in just having in your daily diet. And if you're not eating those things from foods, I think it's important to have a supplement with those. Those are not going to hurt you. If you take too much of that, you're just gonna kind of urinate it out.
yep,
So
yep.
it's not,
Hmm. That's
yeah.
right. So um, my in terms of anxiety, I know St. John's wort is just as effective as Prozac. And so I
Okay.
know a friend of mine who drinks St. John's wort tea, and if you drink too much of it, you will be really calm. So another my one of my other favorites is Relora. Relora will absorb cortisol.
Okay.
So if you're experiencing a lot of stress, and stress hormone, cortisol is a stress hormone, Relora actually absorbs that stress hormone. It's natural. Forget which I think it's a root powder. Yeah. So
Okay.
there's
Brilora.
yeah.
I wasn't familiar with that one, so I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Oh yeah. I have a pharmacy of things, antibacterial, antiviral, anti-anxiety. It's pretty extensive because I really, I had a real bad reaction with because I have sleep issues, and um, I had I forgot the name of this stuff. It was some heavy duty pharmaceutical, and I was so groggy, and I said I would never ever take that again. So at night I'll take L-theanine.
Okay.
It will help you. Magnesium will help you. Um, Inositol is another one that will help you to sleep. Uh,
Now, what is inositol? Where'd that come from?
it's along the vitamins. Inositol. I explain inositol. I know it's really myo-inositol is really good for women with uterine problems. It's kind of like a vitamin for ovaries, if you will.
Hmm.
For
Okay.
myo-inositol, the regular inositol is for men. Yeah, inositol. INOS.
Okay.
Don't ask me to spell it. Inositol. Yeah, it's that one I recommend it for my female clients who may be having uterine problems. It,
Okay.
it's a it you, clinically it has been shown and demonstrated that inositol will help with those kinds of feminine problems.
Okay.
It's efficacious. Very.
That's good to know.
Mhm.
Okay. So, what else? What are some other tips that we can provide people during this time? Stay away from the TV is number one. Turn it off when you feel like it's just too much. And find some happy things like some comedies, or pull up some comedians on YouTube that you like to enjoy, and just
Mhm.
finding some soothing music and listening to that, taking a walk, exercising. Like, I think all those things are really good for
Yes,
right now.
sleep is massively important. It is recommended that you get at least 7 to 8. I'm trying to shoot for 6. uh, but when you sleep, you reset everything in your brain.
Yeah.
Deep sleep is called delta sleep. You need to be in delta every night, maybe hour and a half, 2 hours, and it's the kind of when you get enough delta sleep, when you wake up, you'll feel refreshed. You'll feel you know
Yeah.
like you got some sleep. The other thing to do is I have right here my trusty Fitbit watch, and
Okay.
it will tell me the various sleep cycles that I go through: light sleep,
Yeah.
deep sleep. Your how long you're awake, how many times you toss and turn at night.
Oh, wow. That's
So
good.
yeah, that's it. For me. I needed to know all that stuff. So um, because when I look at my data in the morning and I see all these squiggly lines, I'm like, wow. I'll know because I didn't sleep well. So you know, you almost have to set your sleep up on a regular basis, or sleep hygiene when you go to bed at
Yeah.
the same time every night and you wake up at the same time. That is really important. Sleep, I cannot stress enough.
But that's hard. That's hard for a lot of people because since this COVID broke out, it's a lot of folks' sleep cycles are off. I know mine is one of them. But I think what's good and what works for me, and I tell my clients, is like you doing the binaural beats. I love those. Like
Yes.
the
Sound
delta, theta
wave.
waves, and yes. So playing that right before you get ready to go to sleep and just having that play all throughout the night while you're sleeping, it just helps you kind of doze off and just really have the best sleep. So I'll pull up some on YouTube and just have those playing, and wake up in the morning and sometimes they're still playing if my phone hasn't died. So those help tremendously. And you have like, the best peaceful sleep.
Yeah, I have a white noise machine in my right next to my bed, and I can simulate thunder and rain and babbling brooks and ocean waves crashing and all that stuff. And I just turn on a little bit. The other thing I like to do to help me get to sleep is um, lavender oil. I
Yes.
love lavender oil, and lavender oil, it's a great instant anxiety reducer. If you took some and put it in a, in a, tissue, and you
Yeah.
inhale deeply, like 5, 6 times, whatever you freaking out about, you're gonna notice a change in about 5 or 6 minutes once that gas hits your bloodstream.
Yeah.
Get the good stuff. Don't get the cheap stuff. The good
Yeah.
stuff's on Amazon for about 18 bucks.
Right.
You get it. It's like $4. No, not $4. It's 4 ounces, and it's like
Yeah.
$18. I'll spritz some on my pillow. I'll put some like on my sheet. You can actually rub your temples with it,
Yeah.
and after you get to inhaling it, you won't remember falling asleep because it's a real smooth send off.
Yeah. Lavender is really good. And I buy the essential oil little things that you can put inside the air wicks, the pure essential oil, but they go inside the air wicks. And so I put them in each room. And so I find that in putting them in my kids' rooms, it really helps them have a good night's sleep too. And so that, you smell that. And even like with me, I would take like peppermint oil and lavender oil and I would drop it on the filter, the air filter that goes into the central air conditioner and heat. I would
Oh
drop some of
wow!
that on the air filter and put that in the filter. And so
Right.
then, when the air comes on in the house, you have that smell all
Boom.
over
Boom.
from the oil.
Yeah. Yeah. I also like to use a diffuser every once in a while. Diffusers are great where you drop the essential oil in and you got a little heat source up under and it kind of just does
Yeah.
the whole room. So it's definitely sleep is really, really important. If you don't get enough sleep, it can actually change your mood the next day.
Yeah.
Not getting enough sleep will help will make you gain weight if you don't
That's
get
true.
enough sleep. Um, so sleep is really important, and to establish a hygiene where you go to bed every night at the same time and wake up at the same time, you condition your brain to go, okay. Also, if you're light sensitive, like I have no blue lights after. For me, no blue lights after 8 o'clock. My
Okay.
screen, my computer screen turns kind of like an orange to block the blue light. Blue light keeps you up. So
Hmm.
I have a number of yellow lights that I turn on at 8 o'clock to start the melatonin process because your melatonin starts to come down when it gets dark. If you see blue light, it can actually keep you up.
Okay. That's good to know.
Mhm.
Yeah, another important thing I know for African Americans I wanted to touch on is vitamin D. Vitamin D helps with fatigue and, just your bone health and a lot of different things. And because we have been kind of stuck inside due to COVID, you're not getting out and getting that sun, which is what the vitamin D comes from. So a lot of us are vitamin D deficient and we don't even know it. So I think really it's important if you don't add any other supplements and don't like to take pills or vitamins, take a vitamin D supplement.
Well,
That's important.
especially for African Americans, our skin works too well. So you synthesize your own vitamin D, but this darker hue kind of filters
Yeah.
out some of the light. So I have vitamin D. It's available in 10,000 IU's. I have 50,000 IU's, and I can
Oh,
take like once or twice. If you don't want to take it, every day, you can take the 50,000 IU's like maybe two or three
yeah.
times a week. You don't have to.
2 or 3 times? I would say once a week. That's a lot.
Well, it probably, maybe, yeah, it depends. It depends on where you're at. If you're not getting any from food, then, and I can't drink milk. I'm lactose intolerant, so the only place I'm getting it from is, unless you eat a bunch of mangoes. And I love mangoes, and I do eat a bunch of them, but it's a lot of sugar in mangoes. So,
But I
yeah,
mean, some vegetables, some green vegetables have vitamin D's in it too.
mhm,
But
sure.
even with these supplements, any ones that you take too much of, you're just gonna, pee it out. So it's not going to hurt or kill you, so to speak. If you do overdose on vitamin D, it's not really possible. But we don't want to do too much. I mean, my recommended, my daily is from my doctor is 2,000 a day, 2,000
Yeah.
milligrams. So that's all I take a day is 2,000. So that's roughly, count that for a week. If I'm taking it, 5 days, that's 10,000 milligrams, you know, a week, 5 days a week. But
Yeah, the milligrams the milligrams is the physical count. The IU, I forgot what IU stood for. I should know that. But the IU it comes in 5,000, 10,000. I want to say 20 and 50,000. That's not the milligram equivalent. IU is perhaps potency.
okay,
In
I can
terms
see
of,
that.
you know, yeah. So the higher the potency, no, you don't have to take it as much. The recommendation on the bottle is like once a week with the 50,000. So, um, you know, look at the bottle. I'm an avid label reader, and
Hmm.
that's gonna be really important because um, you have to know what you're taking. If you can't pronounce it, you probably shouldn't put it in your body.
Right, that's true. So, but I think it's important to read the labels too. I'm conscious of that when going grocery shopping. I stay away from high fructose corn syrup. I think, that's deadly. So, and a lot of people don't realize that, how that can affect a lot of things. So, that's one that you really don't want to have in your diet. So, eliminating foods and products with that ingredient in it is also can be really good for your health.
Hmm.
So, think we provided some good information here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Anything else, Lynn, that you want to add?
oh, let's see. Oh, I think it's important for couples at this time that if you're experiencing, because you're together a little bit more than average, and it's really going to be a test of your relationship. If you feel like you're struggling, reach out to a therapist, counselor, marriage and family therapist, life coach, to help bring some insight to what's going on, because couples that are with each other that much can possibly, you know, start to trigger each other, especially if you have kids. Kids will
Yeah.
kids will trigger kids will trigger everything in you.
Oh, yeah.
Anxiety, anger, all kinds of stuff. So if you feel like you're struggling in a relationship, reach out and talk to if you have church, maybe pastor, um, reach out to friends who you can talk to, or bring in a third party. I do um, teleconsultations, and I've had couples like right in front of me, and they'll talk about all of their stuff, that comes up, and a lot of times what I'm hearing is a lot of unresolved childhood stuff that comes into the relationship. So, couples that are going at each other have to realize that there are forces on the outside of you that are impacting how you relate to one another.
Yeah.
And that's really important, that you get help. Don't be ashamed to ask for it. It's okay. A lot of local universities who have counseling programs will see you on a sliding scale, if not free. There are a lot of professionals out there who can help you culturally. If you need to find
Yeah.
somebody who looks like you, then see Dr. April. She right there. So
Right. Look, telehealth in Texas. You got to be in Texas.
okay.
But yeah, I mean, that's important though that you said that. How important is it to find someone that looks like you? Especially during this time, because it's so much that's going on. And we've all seen as professionals, we've seen, some of professionals of the other lighter, brighter groups make comments, about this time that have been racial tones and insensitivity. And so that
Incorrect.
can really, yeah, that can really, put forth a lot of damage toward African American clients if you're seeing someone that may not be sensitive and or understand, from a cultural standpoint, what it is that you're going through right now. That can
Right. You
be
don't
more
want to see
damaging.
somebody who's going to make it worse for you. I mean, that's counterintuitive. So, and most black folks that I see, when I walk in, they go, "Whew, sure glad you black." Because there's an instant connection there. There's a connection with communication. There's a connection with culture. There's a
Yeah.
connection with language that we get to bypass all of that stuff and just like, because most of the clients come and I say, yo, what's going on? What's up? What's up? That kind of, and they can start to relax. Plus, my sessions are 2 hours long. I got out of the clinical 50-minute thing because,
Okay.
most of my folks, just getting going right at 50 minutes. You almost hitting cruising altitude at 50 minutes. And I got tired of saying, "Oh, I'm sorry. We're just gonna have to pick." I can't do that. When
Yeah.
you leave my office, I will zip you up and make sure that you okay before you go out of that door. And any confident therapist is going to take the time to
Yeah.
make sure that you're okay. That what you came in with, you got a different perspective on before you leave out, or whatever the end of the session, if it's a tele session or if it's in person.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay, Lynn. Well, it was great having you. I appreciate
Absolutely.
you being here. I think
Sure.
we have absolutely given out some really good information. So I hope it helps someone. So
Mhm.
once again, this has been a great segment of Conversations with Dr. April. Please like and subscribe to the channel, Urban Counseling Click. And until next time, be blessed.
Bye bye.